to extend word of thanks to all of you for coming here and engaging in the wonderful dialogue organized by Usanas Foundation and Minister of External Affairs. Thank you for this opportunity for allowing me to keep my views and ideas in front of such beautiful, informed people. Most of us must be knowing that Pakistan's conduct of continuous information warfare against India, trying to destabilize, create and religious disharmony through means of propaganda using social media and other means. ISI attempt to revive the Khalistan movement social media trends showed that more than 11,000 posts were generated in the attempt to spread fake news about the report of anti-Sikh rights 1984. During farmers' protest, many of such Twitter handles were created from the Pakistan just to separate the false propaganda against India. Hundreds of fake accounts were activated in the neighboring country with fake names to create hatred against the government leadership and to create a wedge between Hindus and Muslims in India by projecting the ruling government as anti-Muslim. Attempt of projecting Citizen Amendment Act CAA as a law to snatch citizenship of Muslims in India to instigate Muslims against Hindus. The entire ecosystem of hate mongering is being run from the neighboring country to separate false propaganda which aim at dividing our country on the basis of religion. I am from the Kashmir, so let me just draw your attention towards Kashmir Valley. When it comes to Kashmir, you might be aware about the Pakistan rules about the Kashmir Valley. So Pakistan often uses the international platforms like UN to separate its false Kashmir propaganda against India and tries to mislead the world using fake photos, videos to propagate its propaganda. Also separating misinformation and promoting anti-India propaganda in Kashmir through music, songs. Funding foreign media outlets to publish anti-India information like committing genocides in Kashmir. Pakistan is also using the international podium to peddle lies about Kashmir and Kashmiris. I would like to mention an example here. Yesterday in UN, a so-called Pakistani representative, I don't want to name because I don't want to give him free publicity. He claimed that the suppressed Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani and Ashraf Sehrai were murdered by the Indian state. But the fact of the matter is, they both were 90-year-old and they died natural death. So their death was announced by the same person on the Twitter account. When it comes to Women's Day, several accounts is what my observation is. Several accounts from the Pakistan as well as India, they claim that many women are detained by the Indian state. Like I will mention the names: Asya Indrabi, Nasima Bano, Insha Jan has been illegally detained on baseless charge. So let me tell you what were the charges and why they are baseless for these people. So Asya Indrabi, you might be aware about Asya Indrabi, but let me just try to conclude and let me tell you who is she, Asya Indrabi. Asya Indrabi, along with her two associates, were heading the organization called Dr. Millat, a prescribed terrorist organization. Asya was also in touch with the global designated terrorist Hafiz Saeed, who was involved for harboring terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, so-called Nasima Bano, you might have seen her pictures on the social media with AK-47 and Kalashnikov, and she was involved in heinous crimes like recruiting Kashmiri youth in terror ranks, arranging arms and logistics, ammunition for terrorists. While 18-year-old girl Insha Jan, she was arrested because she was facilitating Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorist Umar Farooq, bomb maker, Adil Dar, a suicide bomber, and Samir Dar, who carried a deadly Pulwama attack in which we lost our 40 brave Jawans. Several media channels, including Boring Broadcasting Channel BBC, wrote a lot of stories about detention of Kashmiri journalists. Let me introduce who were they. So let me tell you, Adil Farooq, like I remember Yana mentioned in her speech about Adil. So Adil Farooq was caught by the CRP Jawans. I remember exactly in the heart of Srinagar city in Lal Chowk. He was carrying the live hand grenades and he was arrested. Then later on, so-called West media and the other media organizations, they said, see how this voice of the media outfits, journalists, how he is muzzled in the Kashmir Valley. Let me tell you one thing, that one other guy was Sajid Gul. Sajid Gul was arrested for hatching criminal conspiracy against India on the dictatorship of Pakistani agencies. And Fahad, one of the guy who is most nowadays, you might have seen on the Twitter that many of people are saying that Fahad Shah. Even I was going yesterday, the UN speech, they have mentioned the name of Fahad as well. So let me tell you who Fahad was. Fahad was arrested for glorying terrorists like Burhan Wani, Zakir Musa, and another one is Asif Sultan. You might have seen the pictures of Asif Sultan, that journalism is not my crime. I also know journalism is not crime. That doesn't mean that you will peddle lies or that you will shelter the Ansarul Ghazwatul Hind terrorists in his residence. Asif was arrested. In the case, he was sheltering the terrorists of Ansarul Ghazwatul Hind at his residence. So I have just notes that lot of Pakistani YouTube channels are also involved in the spreading fake news and website promoting anti-India propaganda. More than 1,000 fake accounts were created to launch propaganda campaign against India on the same day when Government of India announced removal of Article 370. I am witness to these things because I remember exactly when the Article 370 was abrogated by the Government of India. I was in Delhi at that time, and there was many media channels. They invited me for this shows, that prime time shows. So I was going through a lot of stuff, what I was in the social media. Some of the Pakistanis was claiming they see how Kashmir is under siege. Even today, if you see the social media of the Pakistanis, they still call Kashmir is under siege. So this is happening in the Kashmir Valley. It's a lot of things they are peddling on the social media. So let me tell you one thing. So why we should care? What is the effect of India on these things? So it would adversely impact India's secular and democratic values, harm in India's international image and soft power of our country, which we have cultivated among the people of respective countries. Cause riots, religious tensions, for example, if you ever about the riots in Delhi during the CA protests, were due to the provocations and misinformation separated by the so-called neighbors. How now the point is we often just talk about the problems. Let me give you examples that how can we counter this propaganda which is separated by the Pakistan. So India is an open democracy. Rogue states like Pakistan and China have been taking advantage of our free and open media flow of information. It's imperative for us to counter this info war against our country. Recent steps taken by the Government of India to block 4,999 YouTube links and other websites involved in spreading fake news about India are appreciated, but more has to be done to counter this menace. It's not only responsibility of government, but we as a citizen, you are from the different field, I'm from the media field as well as I'm a lawyer, but I also feel that it's my responsibility as well to counter this menace. Because it's not the only government who is doing, because we also live in the country, it's our prime responsibility, it's our moral responsibility to counter this menace. And I also believe that to debunk Pakistan's fake propaganda on Kashmir, let the same Kashmiris confront at international, national, as well as local level. You might be aware about yesterday that 2 Kashmiris, they were heckled by the Pakistani outside. So I must appreciate those Kashmiris who just exposed Pakistan on international podium. And if Pakistan can use its embassies across the world for wrongdoings, why can't we use for our embassies for the good things? I will give you an example. Let our embassies debunk the misinformation spread by the Pakistan and their proxies at the global level. There is a need of our to set up cyber warfare cells in every state of the country which can work to bust the false misinformation, also can work in the peace building narrative. So thank you so much. I will not take your more time. So thank you so much for giving me a time to speak. Thank you.